You've got one issue, and it's not having the right deal, it's having the right strategy. So today we're going to talk about 3 strategies of the 3 deals I'm running right now. I've got one of my students is actually in the room that we're running the deal together. We're partnering up on this one. So that's going to be a great conversation. That's how you actually take a 4-family and turn it into a max producing 5-unit building. So there's a lot of complications on that one. It's a strategy that's very unique. It's a little different from some of the other stuff we're going to talk about. Then we're going to talk about the condos that we purchased. We're actually wholesaling 5 of those at a steep discount, and we'll talk about why we're doing it, what the strategy is there. We bought 24, and I'm going to explain why we're doing what we're doing with the whole portfolio. And then there's another, I asked everybody earlier when you guys walked in, what did you do this week? What did you put in agreement? What didn't you do? So we just put another 11 units under agreement here in the city, so it's 3 buildings. I'm going to talk about that strategy. The reason I'm going through it is because it's not common. It's something that most investors don't like to do. We actually hold our properties and then we let them go. And a friend of mine today, he told me, he said, you can't explore new oceans if you never leave the shore of the old ocean. That make sense? So I thought it was fascinating, right? Because he was telling me, and I'm usually out there. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bigger things. And he was like, Walter, it sounds like you're trying to explore other oceans and stay in the same ocean. I was like, explain this, right? You're exploring other oceans and staying on the same shore. And he was saying every entrepreneur at some point explores beyond what they're doing, right? There's a point where I wouldn't touch anything over a 3-family. Truly, I wouldn't touch condos, and I wouldn't touch commercial. And now we're at a point where it's like, well, I can't do anything but those, right? Anything less than those is like losing time, right? I'm losing opportunity. And it's only from letting go of that past thought and moving into the new future of where things are, and the market's shifted and it's forced us into new projects as well. But it's only from having that open mind and saying, you know, it's okay to let go of this shore, I gotta move on to the next one, as long as everybody on that shore is automated, right? But we would have started the training company if we didn't have everything settled on the rental side. And we wouldn't have started doing flips if everything wasn't settled on the rental side. And that is, I think, honestly, the progression. I got wholesalers in the room. Where my wholesalers at? Ishmael, you're the only one, huh? Guys, we're all wholesalers. At any moment, if you got a contract that you didn't want, you'd sell it, right? Yeah, we would. We just, if we didn't say yes to that, it's because on the other side, we're also like, no, I'm a landlord. I buy rentals, right? Where my landlords at? We're the cash flow guys. All right. So we buy rentals, right? So we don't think we're wholesalers. Where are my flip guys? Who does flips, right? And the flip guys are like, I don't do that buy and hold stuff, although a few of you said yes to everything. Because that's really where the secret to the business is. You cannot get to the level that we're at. You can't do it as quickly as we did it by holding on to everything. You can't do it as quickly as we did it by flipping everything, right? And you certainly can't do it by wholesaling everything, because you never hold the equity. You've got to hold that equity for a period of time. So the strategy is this hybrid version of the BRRRR strategy, but we sell them. So we pyramid and we BRRRR. Who's heard of the pyramid strategy? Yeah, so I'll explain it. So pyramiding is when you buy something and then you sell it to buy 2 things, right? So instead of having just one single family, now you buy 2 single families. Or instead of having a single family, now you buy a 3-family. You flip the single to buy a 3. Or you sell a 3 to buy a 6, right? That's pyramiding. So every time you sell a property, you're doubling units. So you're increasing the amount of units you have over the long term. How Ron and I have done it from the very beginning, when I wrote the book, from the very beginning, I would buy 2 properties a year. Well, in the beginning, it was just 1 property, right? 1 property. And then it became 2 to 3 properties a year. And every year since I started, I've been letting a property go. So I live off of the income of letting that property go. And the cash flow maintains the buildings that I'm holding. It just stays in it, maintains. But every year I'm dropping one off that I bought maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But continuing to grow the portfolio. So it gives you that cash infusion, gives you that little extra money where you're not losing money on the portfolio, and your tax returns come out really well because you put everything on that flip. Like all the expenses end up going there, and the cash flow is doing a phenomenal job. That's making sense? Mm-hmm. So that strategy has allowed us to grow wealth fast. What we recently discovered is buying in portfolios, we can speed up the strategy. Right? Buying portfolios, we can pick them up and then improve and then offload the things we don't like, and then we end up with things paid off. Right? So by the end of this year, we'll have probably $3 million paid off completely. $3 million worth of real estate with no mortgages on it. Who'd like to have that? Right? Ron and I have only been working together for almost 3 years now.
3 years, yeah.
3? So South Coast Capital has only been around 3 years. And prior to that, Amarillo Properties was only worth $500,000, right? It wasn't worth a ton. But together we've gotten this company to a very high scale. Well, not high scale, right? It's just the beginning. But from where we started, it's beyond what we thought we could do in the short period of time that we've been playing. Right. And where we're going next year, like it's unreal. Like I thought I was gonna have to take 10, 15 years. I was being aggressive to pay all these off. I truly did. I really thought it was gonna take 10 to 15 years to pay off all my mortgages. But we're gonna have somewhere around 40-ish units paid off completely in just 3 years. We'd like to do that. All right. It's a hybrid strategy. It's just thinking outside the box a little bit. So, and then the other one is, I said pyramiding. What was the other one I said? Burr. And we know what the Burr strategy. Who knows what the Burr strategy is? Yeah. Buy, renovate, refinance. Nope. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. But we don't talk about the borrow part, right? Me and Ron were talking about it. It's really 2 B's at the beginning. You don't just buy. You have to go and borrow the money, right? Unless you had cash, in which case, you probably the first few are easy until you hit that wall of no more cash. Like when you don't have cash, that's when investing really starts, right? When you're just throwing money into it, it's like, okay, that's passive investing, that's fine. But every real estate investor in this room knows what it's like to hit that wall where it's like, oh, money's an issue at the moment, right? So the borrow part is a whole part of the strategy. How you borrow dictates what you can pay for the house. Mm-hmm. If you don't borrow, you can buy any house, right? Pretty much anything, you could do the deal if you just had cash. The cash flow is there. It's how much you're borrowing for, what strategy you're using really dictates the quality of that deal. That make sense? So with the Burr, we incorporate the extra B, the little b at the beginning, right? Or maybe that's the big B and buy is a small b, right? So it's borrow, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. So that hybrid version of using both of those pyramiding with the Burr strategy, and the first time I figured this out, you guys want to know how I figured this out? I was playing a video game. It was called Real Estate Mogul. Century 21 put it out a long time ago, and I don't think you can find it online anymore. I went searching the other day. But what the point was you'd have a property, and you could buy it, and then the goal was to get to $1 million or $10 million or whatever it was. And after a little while, I realized I'm buying these things, I'm waiting for the cash flow to do it, right? I'm landlord mindset, like, oh, highest return, buy that. I bought all the cheapest, highest return properties, right? And then I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting. And like the clock is going, and nothing's happening. Like cash flow is going up like trickles. Every landlord in the room knows what the trickle feels like, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's trickles. Like the cash flow comes in small, which is cool because we are cash flow kings. It's what we love. We love the cash flow. We love it coming in. That little bit makes us feel good. But after a little while, you start realizing like this is gonna take a while, right? Who's come to that wall before? Really, this is a long strategy, right? So I'm looking at the game and I'm starting to figure it out. I'm like, okay, like one of my properties really went up in value. I've got equity here, and then I noticed a property that I was eyeing before. I really liked that it was just more units because the game was really well built. Like you can go to different zip codes within the game just by shifting over, and I noticed that zip code's going down in value. But I was like, man, I wish I had money right now to buy that because that one's going to cash flow phenomenally, right? So it dropped in value, and one of my properties went up in value. I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Like this one doesn't cash flow as good as that one does. Maybe if I sell it and I go buy that one, I'll make it up on the other end. I'll get the cash flow. I'm selling this almost at a loss, but I've got equity in it. So I sold it, I bought it, and then that one eventually went up in value. And something triggered in my head. I was like, holy shit! Like if you buy correctly, buy low, sell high. I know it sounds like ridiculously simple. I know it does. Everybody, you want the best advice, right? Buy low, sell high. Warren Buffett, don't lose money, right? Like the simple advice. But when you really look at the strategy behind it, is buy where there's a value add, right? Buy where there's a value add, improve the value, buy at a discount, buy with the value add, improve the value, do it, and then sit on that thing so you can get the capital gains, right? Like don't flip it traditionally. Don't flip it like, hey, I made this, and now I got to go pay income tax plus capital gains. Right? That was it. Self-employment tax plus capital gains. hold it. Let that thing rent itself out, get your little trickle so you're making your cash flow, but a year or two later, dump it. It takes forethought. This strategy is not a buy and flip or a buy and hold. It takes a little bit of patience. You've got to hold on to them long enough to get past the self-employment tax. Does that make sense? So I was playing the game, figured it out, and started realizing, oh my God, like if you really run this almost like a flip that cash flows, I was able to move a lot faster. Like the way I was playing the game changed. It was look for the value add the cash flow, and that was really the priority. It was just buy buildings that don't lose money, right? Buy low, sell high, buy buildings that don't lose money. That's why we don't play with single families. Ron, do we buy single families? Not anymore. We've both bought single families. I bought two. His first investment was a phenomenal return on investment. He bought a single family in Arizona. Paid it off in 3 years, and then sold it in profit. How much did you make when you sold it?
A bunch.
A bunch. What'd you buy it for, Ron?
Bought it for $190, sold it for $260.
Bought it for $190, sold it for $260 3 years later?
Yeah.
4 years later? What do you guys think?
5 years.
Is Ron a genius?
5 years later.
He just bought a house in a down market at the right time, and he just literally stumbled into real estate investing, right? The way this guy invests now is so different from that strategy, like so different. And you could get away with a single family back in 08, right? You could buy at that time, and it would go up in value, and you could sell it, and it's like, wow, you're a genius, like, right? Boston, anybody who bought in Boston in 08, 10, 12 is a genius, right? They made $500,000 from purchasing a single family they lived in the whole time, right? Who knows any of those people? Yeah, me too. What's up, brother? Good to see you, Okino. Good. So the strategy that I want to talk about with you guys right now is the Brightman Street project. Mm-hmm. So I bought this house. I bought 3 houses in one little block. Commercial property, a 4-family, and a single-family home. We paid $257 for it. And at that time, we knew it was a good deal. At that time, we were like, this is insane. We're getting 6 units for $250. This is a great deal. So we get into it. Day one, cut off the single family, right? Our strategy, we did technically buy a single family. All right, technically. So we cut off the single family, we sold it, right? Because you find value in something, get rid of it, be done with it. Now we only owe $111 on it. Puts us in a position where we don't have to be pigs when we go to sell the property. So before we decided to sell, we were actually, this is the strategy we were going to run. And the only reason, I'll tell you why we're selling the building, we have to make money this year. So we have to actually show income this year because we're looking to refinance some very big loans, including this building. And Ron and I are like, well, how do we show income? Because we've been very good at hiding income. Well, expending everything. So
you know this on film.
Yeah, we're very good at it. Carlos, right?
Yeah.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
So Carlos Bello, anybody know him? Phenomenal. He day trades and he does options. His company is called Turtle Trading, and he's actually a coach. Like, he teaches and trains on how to trade options. And I saw him on Instagram. I met him a long time ago at a big transaction we were looking to do together in Brockton. We're looking to buy 18 units together. And although the deal fell apart, the relationship's always stayed. So now I see him on Instagram, and he's either working out or posting his trades. He's like, yeah, just made this, and he'll post the candlesticks, so you'll see like how the trade went. And he's just phenomenal, just as a friend, a person, a mentor, very good at what he does. And he was saying he used to play on a game. So if it was still available, I would tell everybody, go home, like, download this. And I don't know, maybe you guys can find it. Somebody out there is smarter than me. But the game was phenomenal. So anyway, so this strategy, what Ron and I had, have you guys been in the attic? You've seen the attic?
Yeah.
Okay. So the attic, like many 3 families here in the city, has rooms, has like little dorm rooms up there. I think there's 8 bedrooms up there, something like that, 8 or 10 bedrooms. So they're all separated, all bedrooms. So what investors will do is, instead of putting, because rookie investors, this is what you think, hey, I'm going to put another unit up there, right? But this is a 4-family. A rookie investor is looking just to buy and hold. Whereas somebody with this hybrid strategy is looking, well, can I sell it again, right? Is this something because everything that you own, you will sell one day. Can't take it with you. And you're much better, like one of my buddies who owns quite a bit in the city and the guys I was telling you who are looking to get rid of their half of their portfolio, you realize like you don't want to keep all of the stuff you pick up. At some point, you want to simplify and reuse that capital somewhere else in a bigger project. So everything you buy, think exit strategy, how do I sell it, right? It's not just long-term rental, which is a good strategy and should always be your number one strategy. But then how am I going to dispatch this thing? How do I get rid of it? If they went and turned it into a 5-unit, they're not going to be able to sell it to the normal market. So it doesn't make sense to go up there and turn that top unit into another unit. But what they can do, because 2 side-by-side units underneath, what they can do is install staircases in one of the bedrooms, and upstairs, now you're adding 3 bedrooms to those little 2-bedroom units. Now they become 3 huge bedroom units. Does that make sense? So you go from getting an average of $750 a month for rent to $1,200 a month for rent on each one of those units. And increasing the value just based on cap rates, you're increasing the value. But you're also increasing the value because you've added square footage to the building. A building that was previously 2,200 or 2,400 square feet is now 3,000 square feet. Does that make sense? As long as you pull the permits, do it right, pull the permits, have it all done the right way. You've added now 3 bedrooms. Well, basically you've added, because it's 2, so it's an 8-bedroom unit building, and you're adding 4 more bedrooms to the building. Now it's 12 bedrooms, right? So that, and then when we bought it, it also was a hair salon. The problem with a hair salon being in a building in a 4-story that's going to be owner occupied is the owner typically doesn't want to have a business there. Typically they want to live in that unit. So we kicked the tenant out. We nicely asked him to leave, gave him a month of free rent. We took good care of him, and he left, and now we're in the middle of renovating the unit. So now it's going to be a 2-bedroom unit. But this one has an addition, so it's a big 2-bedroom compared to the other 2 bedrooms in the building. So that was, and Ron and I are doing this project for ourselves. Like, this is what we were doing to make the money for ourselves, because the goal is to put this on the market for $300,000. But we ended up deciding we have to sell faster. Basically, we're always ready to sell something. We're always ready to make that capital to put it back into the system. Wholesale, whatever, we'll call it a wholesale, right? Although we own it. So instead of going through and putting our $20,000 in, we're putting it on the market for $250,000. This way, yeah, are we missing money? Yeah, there's $50,000 missing for us. But at the same time, we're getting the sale now, which we needed at the end of the year. Sometimes in this game, you've gotta, like, it's like, oh, like I don't want to lose the cash flow, right? Who said that? I don't want to lose the cash flow. But sometimes you gotta let go of some cash flow in order to jump forward and pick up more cash flow. Those big appreciation plays. So you go in, you raise the rents. Well, you don't raise rents, you just renovate those 2 units. The staircase, you're talking $2,000, right? $2,000 each side to put in, and this is on the high side, right? But you get the staircase put in, you get the flooring done all the way across, about under 1,000 square feet of flooring, so you're gonna be paying somewhere around $2,000 to do the entire floor across. And then paint, drywall, electrical, say $4,000 for electrical. So they're gonna install heat, they're gonna install all outlets, so you got $4,000 there, and then another $4,000 in drywall and paint. These numbers sound realistic? It's not a huge project, right? It's a cheap project. And they'll leave a little bit of contingencies in there. And then paint the basement white. Paint the basement white. Like, just paint the walls, because that works every single time. Literally, you walk into a basement that's painted white, you're like, oh man, this one's nice. You can have a bigger basement,
great floors,
right? You have a bigger basement that's taller ceilings, open, but if the walls aren't painted, you're like, it's a basement. Yeah. But when the walls are painted, you're like, man, like this one's clean. Like they take care of it, right? Yeah. It's the cheapest renovation you can make to a house is paint the basement, and it increases the value. Right? The furnace, you go into the furnace, you wire brush them. If there's none in this building, they're all space heaters, and you're gonna go electrical heat on the tops. But you like wire brush the furnace, make it look nice, dust those things off, and just make the basement look like decent. And I swear to God, it changes the value of the property. When the home inspector's going in there, they'll comment on it. The realtor will comment on it, because we've seen so many shitty basements. And to have that one that's a little different, it's just, and like, it's so cheap. Like, it's like, why wouldn't you do it? You know what I mean? Like, you're not painting the walls, you're literally, like, you go in, you blow all the dust off the walls with a mask on, and then you spray the walls. Like, don't roll it, don't try to, get in there, like, you spray the walls, and spray the joists, you're done. Easiest part of the renovation. But people skip it because they just don't know about it. Who here knew about that? Right. Exactly. One. Right.
Every house.
Exactly. Good job, Bill. Give Bill a round of applause. Get it done. I love it. So this is one project, right? So what have you made there? 30 grand, right? You buy it at 250. You go in, you spend 20, less than 20, to get to a $300,000 profit. What are 4 families going on the market for right now?
Oh,
Are you a real estate agent?
350, yeah,
Right.
yeah, close to it.
So is 300
like 380 right now.
Is 300 realistic, or is it on the very low end?
Oh no, that's the low end.
It's
for
a
sure.
super cautious
Super
figure, right?
cautious.
Yeah. That's where I play, because I like to sell them fast. I'm in no rush. I'm in no. Once I decide, I want it gone. I'm not in a position to wait. So, that's one section. I didn't tell you about the 5th unit on this building. So there's this little commercial storefront that Andrew's going to become, by the way, the king of meeting hairstylists and entrepreneurs very quickly, because your posts are going to switch over to how to be a successful entrepreneur, which, by the way, is all the same stuff that Matt Daler and you do all like as training for real estate agents, right? All the marketing, all the how to do sales and call businesses, and become a great entrepreneur. The hustle, the phone calls. Who does phone calls to find deals? Wholesalers. So you're doing phone calls to find properties, right? Or you're putting out marketing pieces to have people call you, right? Who does that? Well, entrepreneurs do the same thing. So now you start teaching entrepreneurs on your Facebook posts and saying, I've got a space for you. I've got a space for your own business. You're going to be your own entrepreneur. You're going to own your own business. This commercial space is almost 500 square feet, right? In fact, it's very similar to the unit on the side of us over here. It's about the same size. And Ron and I are about to run the same strategy here and there. We're probably going to rent this space out to somewhere else, and we're going to start moving our location around wherever Amy says we're going to put it. We're at, what's the name of it? The Eagle. So we're going to start doing this event at the Eagle, which is a much bigger venue. So we're going to load this up with a hair salon or a nail salon, another entrepreneur who's going to come in here and pay us rent, because rent's better than, we don't need it anymore, right? We've got to the point where, how often are we in the office?
No.
The money's not here,
No.
all right? The money's out there. We come in here literally just to do these trainings, and that's it. Like once a week we do the mastermind, we're in here. So I'm going to talk to one of my buddies and we'll find a different location for the mastermind, because it's like why am I keeping this space open when I can make an extra $1,000 a month putting an entrepreneur in here and supporting an entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm.
You can do the same thing. So to white box that building, anybody know what paint costs?
$100, 5 gallons?
Right. So you're going to white box that little unit, and the front face of it, you just got to rip the boards off and put new boards up. Right. So you're talking a $200-300 project to get that the front of the building looking nice again, and ripping out the walls, because there's a little section in the front with walls and you got to re-drywall the ceiling. Max, you're into this $5 grand. Now you got to separate it though. This is where the money's made, right? Just like we did on Morton Street when we sold that single family, we had to separate it from the parcel. You're talking close to, is it 15,000, Ron?
For which part?
The total, the splitting the water off, splitting the sewer, separating from the building.
Plus the
Site work, all that.
Yeah, the site work. It's gonna be about 12 to 15. Yeah.
12 to 15,000. Big chunk, right? Yeah. Not really. He's gonna have an entrepreneur in there. He's gonna rent it out, and I'll help you design the space, because I've been reading all these books on hairstyle businesses. Right? I ordered 5 books, and I'm like, well, this is where I want to start doing this, right? We're gonna start tracking these tenants. I get in their heads. So I know how to lay it out, and we'll go and we'll design it right. And for about 20,000, this full project will be done. You're gonna borrow money for that, right?
Yeah,
Borrow money to do the renovation.
no problem.
So if you guys know anybody, if you know somebody who's interested in partnering with Andrew and Amy, what is the return on investment? What are you giving?
12%.
12%. I like it. Oh, 8. I'm gonna suggest 12 is easier to fill up the hole. Right? You can fill it up a lot faster. If you're borrowing anywhere between, say all of your renovations, say you're borrowing $50,000 for renovations on these projects, that $500 a month will more than pay for itself when you're selling each one of these individually.
Mm.
So now you've got this entrepreneur in there. They're paying you anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a month, because they walk in, they see it's white boxed, the outlets are set up for a salon, and all they have to do is go and set up their chairs and buy little pieces. But it's a triple net lease. Easiest thing you'll ever do is triple net leases. Who has one right now? Literally the easiest thing you'll ever. The tenant does everything. Absolutely everything. All the expenses are on them. So you'll set that up, and then instead of just putting them in there, you give them this little pitch. Well, I mean, yeah, you can pay me rent, and the rent's going to go up over time, or we can do a lease option to purchase, where you come in and you rent it for a year or 6 months, and you have the option to purchase this at $60,000. They get the whole building for $60,000 or $80,000, whatever you feel is reasonable. But you've put 20 grand into it, and basically from the sale of the other property, you own that thing free and clear. Right? There's no debt on this. Just the 20 grand you put into renovating it, and you sell it for 60 to 80,000 to somebody who you probably like, because they're paying you rent, they're building a business, they're entrepreneurs, they're like-minded. You probably attract them through your videos or from going out and meeting them, and you just made money off it. So this is a strategy me and Ron, we're currently working, and it kills me to let it go because I'm like, it's ego. I like to do things, I like to finish my projects, but at the same time, we have to show income on the company. So that's where that opportunity comes from. Does that explain that well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how much opportunity do you see there? What is the dollar amount if you add it all up? On the numbers I gave, not on pie in the sky numbers. Not on, the 4 families were 400. Let's stay at 300. Say you're making 30 on that one, you're making another 40 on the other one.
Like small number would be 90K, but probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between 70 and 90 on the, this is like guarantees as long as you do these couple steps. It is a complex process. Not super complicated.
No.
It's
A lot
2
of work,
phases.
but pretty simple.
Exactly. This is real estate investing, right? It's simple, it's not easy. Right? Real estate investing is simple, it's not easy. I don't remember who said that to me this week. Oh, Brian Carpenter, you said it to me this week. So I was at his training up in Worcester. He owns a real estate office. I think there's 80 agents in that office. And I've gone up there and I've trained as agents for the last 2 years in social dynamics, the Asian alchemist side. And he said it to me the other day. He said, yeah, real estate the strategy I laid out for work as agents to build up your base of investors and find investment properties. So you get a ton of listings and you get helping your investors buy a ton of property, getting those off-market deals and just connecting people. He's like, that strategy is not hard. Like, it's a simple strategy, but it's work. Right? It's simple, it's not easy. Like, there is work involved. This strategy is simple, and you can run both projects at the same exact time because it's 2 totally different crews. Right? They're doing 2 totally different types of jobs. So you run both at the same exact time. You just put one on the market, you put the other one, now you gotta put a tenant in there, and it's a little more length to it because you gotta put a tenant with a lease option. Or you may sell it to an entrepreneur. Some of them, I walked into a coffee shop today and the guy said, yeah, I don't rent, I buy. I was like, well, he wanted to expand his bakery. I was like, yeah, I heard you want to expand the bakery. Would you be interested in renting? He said, I don't rent, I buy. I'm like, oh shit, like perfect. Because we're looking to split this property up. So my brother's looking at a project, he's looking to buy it and then split it up, subdivide it, and then sell some things off. And the building he wants is exactly the building my brother doesn't know what to do with. Right? My brother's got the other 2 buildings, like I know this side, but he's like, that one I don't get. So I'm listening to him, I was like, this is how the universe works, right? Like, we just talk, we just say what we're looking to do, and somebody else is out there looking to take the other piece. That's how it works, right, Akino?
Yes, sir.
That's what it is, man. So I didn't ask, I've already introduced everybody in the room. What have you been working on this week, Akino? I always see your posts, man. You're nuts.
Wrapping up that single family.
Where it's on?
Yeah.
Nice. How's it going?
Good. I just installed a garage door. Oh, YouTube is your best friend. I love YouTube. I installed an entire garage door.
Yeah, off of YouTube?
Off YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Remotes and everything.
Who here uses YouTube? Yeah, best tool for landlords. That's it, man. All right, so next strategy. Who knows I bought the condos? Bought 24 condos in one shot. The purchase price was $840,000. Ron, what do we bring to the closing table? What do we have to close with?
$23,000.
$23,000 to close.
Yeah.
This was closing costs. Anybody ever pay anything near that in closing costs? Yeah, no. Right. I know. 24 titles needed to be cleared. And so the closing costs got a little out of control. But other than the closing costs, we didn't bring anything to the table. And even the closing costs,
That's half what a commercial bank wanted,
that's half of what a commercial bank wants.
because they wanted appraisal for each
They literally, it was going to cost us somewhere around $50,000 to close on this. Just closing costs, just the fee to do this project. So we cut it in half by going hard money, by speeding things up, and running through the deal. So we bought them, averaged out, it's 24 units, we probably bought them around 40,000 a unit. Right, we did that math, and not a bad deal. Considering they're on the market right now, Matt, you got one listed.
139.
139. How many calls you get?
3 showings so far.
3 showings at 139.
Yes.
Andrew, what's yours on the market for?
125.
125. Oh, you're cheating, bro. Matt's like, what the hell?
Trying to sell faster than me.
How many calls you got?
2 today.
2 today.
Yeah, so I gotta set up a group showing for
Nice.
Saturday.
Very good. So I leverage my team. I could take the listing myself. I'm a licensed agent, right? Matt, do I take my own listings?
Yeah, sort of. He's sort of an agent.
Yeah, I'm a pseudo agent, right? I'd
Doesn't-
rather empower my team and do it. I've got my dad has a listing in that condo complex too, so we've got 3 ninjas like focused on selling these units. 3 separate strategies, 3 separate energies out there, 3 separate marketing campaigns. I see the Facebook posts like you're about to start yours, and my dad doesn't do Facebook posts. He's old school, but like those 3 strategies are out there operating. They're all at different prices. I know yours is unfair. I'm sorry. We're gonna give you a price drop. I promise.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Yours is a 2-bedroom.
2 bedroom. 2 big bedrooms.
Let's do a price drop this week. Ron, you approve that? We'll drop the price $2,500 on Matt's listing.
Ron?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do a price drop. So you can show price reduction, and we'll run your unit that way. We'll probably go every week until we get down to 130. That sound good?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Unless I sell those 5 units.
Unless you
And
sell
that's
those
one.
5 units, in which case that locks us in. So, okay, you're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead. So there's a hybrid strategy here with the condos. One, instantly put 3 on the market. I don't want to flood the market, but I also know there's no other condos on the market right now. And so, and the other ones that did sell were comped around 140, 150. So we're selling under market value, which is typically what we like to do. We like to be in that range of around or under. And Matt's going to continue to drop it till he gets to the sweet spot. In 3, say we break 120 on these, right? Pays $360,000 of our note. Our hard money, that costs us $3,600 every single month. Very expensive notes. And the cash flow on those is not as much as the hard money because we're selling our low priced units, right? We have a tenant who's either not paying, unit on the market, or a tenant who's $600 a month, unit on the market. Does that make sense? Now we just put another, did we fill C4 yet?
Close.
We're close. We approved at least?
Yeah.
Okay, so we approved a tenant at $1,000 a month. Same exact unit is getting 600, and then there's one that's getting 1,000. We'll hold on to that 1,000 unit until the end. Right, that'll be the last thing that we sell. Whereas the ones that are cheaply priced, like, well, I'll put that on the market, right? What's the easiest way to get that return back? So per unit, they're costing us somewhere around $400 a month, right? Just in private money. That's what they cost, about $400 a month plus the condo association fee, so $200. So they cost, regardless, $600 a month. So if we're only getting $600 for that unit, I'm not interested in holding it. Now, every single one of my units, and if my tenants are on here, I love you guys, keep paying, appreciate you. We are going to raise rent on January 1st. They've all been told. I personally went and spoke with all of them, said, hey, I'm buying the building, I'm not keeping it. Congratulations. Right? But and you have the opportunity to buy your unit at this price. I gave them a steep discount. I offered every single one of them $100,000 for these condos. What are they in the market for right now?
25 to 35 more.
139.
That's right. So I'm a decent guy. I offered them a steep discount, right? So that I can, one, offload, get my cash back fast, right? Because this note is pretty big. The note on this building is $9,000 a month. And I'm looking to offload some of that, take some of that, distribute it. I want to keep most of these condos. Ron, how many 3-bedrooms we have?
8.
8 3-bedrooms. The 8 3-bedrooms go for $1,200 a month. So we want to keep those. So we're selling the 2s, and we're selling the singles. We only have 3 singles. They're actually double units combined. But we're keeping the 3s, right? Because they make us the most money. At the end of this project, in the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to have all those 3s paid off. Right? You see how quickly we're paying the note down? Everything goes to that note. And that's the other side of it. We didn't want to take the gain on those. So we could sell them and we could just pay ourselves out and we could just, go party, or we could sell them and we could 1031 and go buy more property. But there's a point where you pay down debt, right? It's boring. And this is not the super leverage. Like, people think I'm risky. Like, outside of this room, people think I'm like a risky investor. Inside this room, you guys are like, why isn't he just 1031 and continue to grow? I have a stable side. He sits in the back corner there. He's like, yeah, but that's called over leverage, Walter. We don't want to die. We don't want to start all this business and then suddenly we're the mentor who died, right? Who like got kicked out of the game. So on some level, we have to play intelligently. So sometimes you pay the capital gains to pay mortgages off. That, it's not exciting, but it makes sure you have a chair in the next. Who's played musical chairs as a kid? So can you visualize running around the room and the music stops and you got to sit down in the chair real quick? So one of my mentors, he told me, and he reminds me of this all the time. He told me, he said, make sure when the music stops you have a chair. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't give a fuck if you have to hold the chair the whole time. Don't worry about being cool. He's like, you pick that chair up and you walk around with it playing musical chairs. I was like, will the kids make fun of you? Yes. Will they say you're cheating? Yes. But when you go to sit down, who's got a chair? Every single time it'll be you. Does that make sense? So this is why, we don't always do sexy things in real estate. Sometimes it's like, just sell it, pay down. Sell it, pay down. And by the end of 2020, our mortgages will be gone. It's not the sexiest move that we've ever made. Except when you look at our cash flow. Or when you look at our cash flow, well, because some people tell me I could have 1031 and gotten bigger, right? I could have 1031 and gotten bigger and I could have been at that level. And it's absolutely true. But we also have another strategy where we can 1031 once we've hit a certain number. Once we've paid off our debt, we still have equity, we can now play with the house money. Everything in this, he and I are into this a total of 150,000 total combined. How much are we in? 300,000? 80 each, 160 total into all of this, right? We've gone leverage, we've done crazy stuff, like we've borrowed, we're probably on debt somewhere over $1.4 million right now.
I think it's 1.2.
$1.2 million. So we've gone, right, considering the portfolio is worth 4.5, right? Considering that little fact, right, it's no big deal. We're in a very good position because of the way we buy. And we've only been doing it 3 years. It's only been 3 years. 3 years. Right. But I look aggressive, right? Like it seems like I've been aggressive, but it's been extremely, extremely cautious. It's been letting go of things. Being like, it's okay. It's okay to let it go because on the other side we're making it back. It's okay to pay taxes because on the other side we're making it back. Right? Some years we pay taxes and we're like, we could have claimed way more expenses. We could have claimed a lot more expenses. Like this year, maybe one of those where we got to show some income to make sure that we can get the refinances on the other side. Right? So we'll pay it here, but we'll make it up on the other side. Who knows how much tax you pay on a refinance? Nothing. There's no tax paid because you've incurred nothing other than debt. As long as your cash flow works, you can take the refi. But we were talking about Holbrook, right? I don't like refining single families because the debt goes up, but the cash flow doesn't, right? So that's why we sell that single family or that 2 unit or that 3 unit because, like Brightman Street, if I refinanced it, right? If I refinanced it and I kept it around that 250 mark, it'd be fine. We could refi it, we could load it up, but now our cash flow is maybe $1,000 a month, which is good for new investors. But for Ron and I to have that kind of debt on something, we're like, if we're gonna have $250,000 of debt, we better be cash flowing $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Yeah.
Are you refining out of hard money or are you refining out of a bank loan?
This one is out of hard money. So
And
this
zero
one,
interest.
Yeah, this one is out of hard money.
Once you paid the hard money.
Once we pay it down, yeah.
Right.
So, but this interest, what is that, 16%, Ron?
Yeah.
Is that Peter Secoulios?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Peter.
No.
It's not Peter? No, it's Gap. It's Gap. Okay, so that's 14%. That one's 14. It's only $110,000.
Yeah.
Right. For us, we didn't claim a lot of taxes the past 2 years. So for us, our global DTI at DSC wasn't good enough to go and do the refi. And my lender knows what I do. And he's like, yeah, I see what you're doing. You've got to fix it. I'm like, well, next year. We'll fix it next year. Next year caught up to us. And so now we got to go boost the income to do that. And I've made mistakes. And I want to let you guys know what I've done wrong so that you don't do the same things. Is that fair? I'm humble, dude. Like, I'm not, but but I'm also honest. Right? I made some serious mistakes that could have made the business a little easier, and I could be way bigger. Nobody's gonna cry for me though. You know, it hasn't knocked me out of the game. I'm still in the game. As long as you stay in it, you can play. All right, as long as you can stay in it, you can win. It's just a matter of staying in the game.
Just like Cash Flow 101.
Like Cash Flow 101. Like, if you just stay in the game long enough, I don't care if you're smart or bad, like, you just stay in cash flow long enough, and you keep buying those small deals, eventually something pops. Eventually one of those deals works out, your capital goes up, and now you can buy the big deals, now you get the cash flow, now you're out of the rat race. Who's played Cash Flow 101? All right, we'll do a cash flow game. We'll have to do a cash flow night. Those are so much fun. Actually, Dunny's, Chris Donovan, him and his father own a lot of real estate in the city, but he owns the bar Dunny's, and he does board game nights. And he messaged me and he asked if I wanted to do a Monopoly night. I was like, yeah, maybe Monopoly, or more likely cash flow. And we'll load the room up with cash flow. Great game. And it really does. It teaches you a lot about the process, right?
Can a 12-year-old understand that?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. If they can play Monopoly, they can figure this out. The rules are very simple. In fact, it comes with an app now.
Pardon me?
They have an app.
They have an app.
Yeah.
They have an app, so you don't have to do all the writing of all the numbers. So you just push on the app, and it's way easier. Works on the iPhone. The Android isn't working right now, but when we play, like, I have another iPhone in my house, so I bring that in so people can use it. But like, the strategy is stay in the game long enough. Just stay in the game, right? Stay, even if you're breaking even on your cash flow, stay, right? Hold the line, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually it works. So the condos. We purchased the condos at a net negative, right? Like, as is, they break even. As is, it's annoying, it's frustrating. It's like we have to hold off on taxes, hold off on water until one condo sells. One condo sells, there's 60, 70, 80,000 back into the pocket, and now it's fine, right? And we've reduced the note by $400, or whatever we decide to put into it. So the strategy, most investors would say, pay down the note. Right, pay down the note so you can save that $1,000 a month, right? But for us, we know hold the cash to stop the bleeding a little bit longer. Renovate a couple of units, stack up. Instead of selling them for 120, 140, we sell them for 150, 180. Right, go into the granite, go into it, like, lean into it a little further and double down on what you're doing, right? Flip the condos instead of just wholetailing the condos. We buy and sell immediately after. Those are wholetailing this. Who's done that before? Wholetailing. So essentially, you buy it, slap paint on it, put it on the market. Buy it, clean the, get a dumpster in there, put it on the market. Right? Wholetailing is a lot of fun. That's what we're doing with these condos right now. Right? What do? I paid a cleaning crew to come in, and they've cleaned the unit, and now you can put it on the market, and it looks great. C4 looks awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah, they look incredible.
They do. Like, for what we're charging for these things, it's a steal. It really is a steal. But for 5 units, if we can sell a bundle of 5 all at once, it means we get to get rid of some of our lowest paying tenants, and we'll sell it at a discount. So we were looking at selling 5 units for $400,000, which is $80,000 a piece. Only 5 though, because beyond that we don't have to. Right? Once we've paid $400,000 on this note, we're in a sweet spot where we can go and refinance again, and then now it's cheap money. Right? So there is sometimes even bigger investors. You can buy things dirt cheap from them. Right now, I've made a profit. I've still made a profit on that. Right, you guys saw it, right? I bought them for 40 a unit. I'm selling for 80 a unit, but there's still a spread. Right? For the wholesalers in the room, keep the spread in there. Don't cut the spread out because you want the next investor will come in and take it. And by the way, you guys, if you can sell 5 at that number, right? I would rather it be one investor who buys all 5 because I know they're going to keep the units. I don't want competition in flipping them. But I may let 1 or 2 of those go at that 80,000 price. Nope, Ron says no, 100,000 on those. All right, so you guys can wholesale those at 100,000. We're gonna let 5 go at 100,000, wholesale, like individually. But I'd rather see you guys sell them at that 400 mark for 5, right? There's a spread there. There truly is a spread there. In fact, if you guys did it, you just raise the rents. They break even, right? If you did it at the right price, don't go hard money on it. If you go hard money on it, it's gonna hurt. But if you do it commercial financing, which you can finance this thing commercially at 5 units, it would actually cash flow very well. For anybody who's interested in 5 units that are condos for $80,000 a piece, the rents on those buildings are about You can get them to 1,000 a unit, like with your eyes closed, without fixing anything. These things are 800-900 square feet, big tall ceilings, big 2 bedrooms. They're beautiful, beautiful units. I don't understand how we got it this cheap. I mean, I understand it. I can articulate why, but I still don't understand it. Right? What did you think the first time you walked in?
Clean.
Yep.
Very well kept. Looked renovated. But you guys did a good job.
We didn't do anything, dude. We bought them that way. Like that. What do you think, Rhett, in the first time you saw it?
I thought you had gotten it redone. I thought it was
Yeah, really.
newly renovated for sure.
Especially that first unit, C2.
C4. C4. C2 still needs work. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's
C2's the beat up one.
Lights off.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's in great shape.
So these deals are still out there.
Oh, you
It's
heard about
just
the deal.
what is it?
Oh, you heard about it. I probably missed it. I'm sorry.
How I heard about it. So I heard about it at this event. I said I'm looking for 20 to 40 more units. If anybody in the room knows of somebody looking to sell 20 to 40 more units, I'm interested. And I say this at every single event. In fact, I'm saying it now to my wholesalers, to my other fellow investors. If you know somebody looking to sell 20 to 40 units in this city, I will buy it. I don't buy outside of the city. God bless everybody. I'll wholesale it to you. But this one city I will buy. Unfair advantage here. I know everybody. Everybody in this city owes me a favor. Right? So I can work way faster, way more efficient. I know the streets. I know everything about what I'm doing here. I go to even as close as New Bedford, I'm out of my league. Right? If I go to Taunton, I lived in Taunton 4 years, but I didn't build this network. Right? I'd get my butt handed to me. I'd still do okay, but I wouldn't do what Okino can do.
Yeah, stay on time.
Right? Right? I want you to have those deals, man. Like,
Thanks.
very seriously. Middleborough, Bill. If I went to Middleborough, the real estate's different, the price is different, the way things operate are different, the people are different. I have to learn a whole new city. I have to learn everything, right? I have to learn all sorts of new fire departments, new electricians. Everything would be new, right? I don't have that relationship where I've done a favor for somebody. Here, I've done a lot of favors. So I move faster, right? I move more efficiently. And that's where, like, I tell investors, niche, like, get so deep in the niche, stay in your city, stay in your lane. There's plenty of money. And I know there is because you wouldn't have picked the city that didn't have it, right? If you can do one deal, you can do 10 deals. Unless you're investing in a city that only has one house, which, that wouldn't be called a city, right? Wherever you invest, you can continue investing for years. They're not going to run out of houses. The strategy may change, but your relationships stay the same. And that's where your money is. Does that make sense? You guys getting good stuff out of this?
Mm-hmm.
So this is our hybrid strategy for the condos. We bought the condos knowing we weren't keeping them all. Every investor I talk to says, wow, 24 units, great cash flow. And in my head, I'm like, 24 units, this is a great opportunity for us to flip for the next couple of years. We've got the inventory. I don't have to go buy any inventory. I know I can flip for the next two or 3 years, right? This is our hybrid strategy where they're gonna age, they're gonna get their capital gains, and then as we're selling them, the market's either going up or down. I don't really care because they cash flow. We bought it in a way where we can hold it forever. And after we've sold 4 or 5 of them, half the note's gone. And we'll refinance. Right? Once we've sold 10, the note is completely gone. Completely gone. And the cash flow is now stupid. We got a $9,000 note on this thing. Right? Once we've sold 9 or 10 of these, it's completely gone. And we're raising all of our rents by $100 in January 1st. Remember I said at the beginning? 24 units are getting notices on January 1st. 21 units are going up on January 1st, $100. $2,000 more a month going into our pocket from not a thing, not a single change. So whether we sell it or not, we don't care. And what do you think's happening the next year? When January comes around, it's the same conversation, another $100. Until we get everybody to 1,000 and 1,200, or whatever market rent is at that time. And we'll keep raising until we get to that point. They know they're under rent. They know everybody in that building. When I said it, they were trying to stay stone cold. They're like, and then I said, you guys know. They're like, yeah, we know. Like they know it's grossly under rent. They're paying $600, $700, somewhere $800. And units that are 2 and 3 bedrooms, they know they should be at 1,000, 1,200. They know it. Like, there's nothing else in the market. It's obvious, right? So the strategy is buy and hold as if we're going to stay there forever. And also sell so that we can recapitalize and keep going. Once they're paid off, yeah, we'll play the 1031 game. Absolutely. Once they're paid off, we've gotten rid of that debt, we'll 1031, and we'll keep running them to bigger and bigger buildings. But there's a patience and there's a simplicity to the strategy and there's hiring the right people. I don't sell my own properties. Who has a license? What license agent's that? Don't sell your own stuff. Right? You too.
I mentioned 1031. Does everybody know what that is?
1031. You guys know what a 1031 exchange is? Everybody in the room? All right. So for the people at home, hey, what's up, Ryan? Good to see you, brother. For the people at home, a 1031 exchange is a way for you to defer taxes. So you bought it for $100,000. You start depreciating that 27.5 years, and say 2 or 3 years from now you want to go sell it. You've depreciated $9,000, and your down payment was maybe $20,000. So you're at a point where your gain is only $9,000, right? From the depreciation that you've taken down. Now, if the property is selling for $120,000 or $140,000 3 years from now, your gain is in addition to that. So it's that $9,000 plus that $20,000 or $40,000. So on that gain, you'd be taxed capital gains, which is 15%. So you're looking at somewhere around, if your gain is, we'll say $50,000, you're looking at $7,500, right? Money that you just hand over to the government. When your gain is higher, like in this situation, we bought them at $40,000 a unit, and I say we just sell them at the 120, our gain's 80 grand. Or the gain's a little higher, and say we sell them at the 140, the gain's 100. Now you're talking $15,000 on each one of these things. Start adding them up. 10 of those, $150,000 we've given the government, which is cool. I believe in paying taxes, but the government wants you to keep the money. They would really rather you buy something bigger. Hence the 1031 exchange. They'll allow you to defer that tax and buy something bigger. So $150,000, how much does that buy me in real estate?
It depends where.
So if we're buying commercial, we can put 20% down. So if 150 is 20%, 5 times that price is what I can buy. What's 5 times 150? $750. So I can buy a $750,000 building as opposed to paying Uncle Sam. What's the cash flow on a $750,000 building? Right? So you're paying it either way eventually, but you're really better off paying in real estate. Not in other things. In other assets, other investments, like working as an employee, it does make sense to pay your taxes, like quickly. But in real estate, it makes way more sense to defer your taxes out.
You don't pay if you die.
What is it?
You don't pay if you die first.
And you don't pay if you die first, right? Keep it in the trust. Keep it in the family trust and rotate the trust. But the deferring of taxes makes way more sense if you're paying taxes to Uncle Sam and you're getting nothing out of it. Terrible return. If you defer and you're able to buy $750,000 more, real estate cash flow, let that cash flow pay for Uncle Sam, right? Or let the size of that building, when you pay that off, pay for him. Does that make sense? I mean, just the gain on that, right? I'm okay with those gains, but you don't want to pay them up front in the beginning of the business. You want to pay your gains later on. And again, there are times like right now we're paying capital gains to recapitalize and pay down mortgages. There is a time to pay capital gains. And I think that everybody knows you can get rich by either buying a bunch of property, being super leveraged, buying less property and having it all paid off, or buying a business and selling a business, building a business and selling a business, right? You could flip your way to wealth, but it takes a lot longer to do that. Whereas you combine all 3 of those strategies, you can get there much quicker. Does that make sense? It's not about one size fits all. It's about knowing when to adjust, right? When your portfolio gets here, you adjust, evaluate, adjust, trim it, change it, add extra levels to it, right? If you stay in one lane all the time, there is a guaranteed length of time it takes to get there, right? But if you, like, it's like playing football. Who here's played football? Who here's watched football? Right? Like the guy who just tries to run up the field is going to get hit, right? If it's obvious where you're going and you're just running straight, you're going to get hit. What they do is they juke, right? They'll slide aside, they'll fake you out, and they'll jump over you if they have to. But the idea is that they're going towards the goal, however it takes to get there, the fastest way, right? If there's somebody in front of them, they're not going to try to run through them. It's okay, adjustment, right? It's the same with real estate investing. You've got to adjust along the way, adjust your strategy to the point that it makes sense. Is that cool? All right. So that's the condos. So I'll break it down. So essentially we sell off 5 quick. We have 3 real estate agents out there operating to sell off them at a slightly higher rate. I've contacted all of the tenants, offered them a discount. I've contacted my lender, I gave him all the information for my tenants to have them all get pre-approved. So every single level I can hit this, I've hit it so that it sells. And if I'm gonna keep it forever, my property manager, all the tenants know that we're raising the rents. So on every single level we're covered, right? There's a refinance already in play to get that building to a much cheaper finance number. And to get this one at a much cheaper, we only owe $250 on this, which is nuts. But the goal is to sell this thing off. Not sell it off, we wanna pay this thing off. So we're gonna take some of those condo fees, throw it into this way, not condo fees, the proceeds from the condos and toss them this way. But until then, we'll refinance it. We'll get to the point where it's nice and more affordable, which it already is, but we'll get a little lower rate. We're looking at, my buddy just got a refi on commercial, 4.5%. I think we're at a 5.5 on this. So 1% goes a long way, makes a difference. The refis are cool. That's money you make for doing nothing. Paperwork, conversation, costs a little bit in finance fees, but when it's done, it makes a big difference. Refinancing, because we're not gonna, when we refinance that portfolio, we're not taking any money out of it. Right? We may take a little bit, but we're not taking a ton. It's gonna be cheap money. We'll keep it under $500,000. If we keep 13 to 16 units, it's gravy for us. Does that make sense? It's cool stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's the strategy on the condos. The 11 units, who wants to hear about the 11 units we just got under agreement? So most of you have actually heard about this portfolio. Who knows Josh St. Fort? Yeah.
Yes, boy.
Okina, what was that portfolio going for?
It was 750.
750. What did I get under agreement for?
550. You ain't gonna cut him that.
I got her for 6. I was there.
He's gonna keep more of these.
Right? Will I keep them all though, right? So 2 of them are 3 families, and 1 of them's a 5-unit. Ron and I already have a plan to get rid of all of them, and we have a plan to keep all of them, just like we always do. Right? So we got a plan to go in there, we'll renovate, we'll make them nice, we'll hold the cash flow. Absolutely. Absolutely. For a year. And then after the year turns, we see the market is still where it's at or it's improving, then we'll reevaluate the portfolio and we'll say, wow, what do we have to do to sell those 3 buildings? Well, it makes sense here. On that 5-unit, we'll probably chop it down to a 4-unit. Make one of those units a much nicer unit. They're all 1 bedrooms, 1, 2, and then 4 ones. So we'll turn one of them into a nice big 3, and we'll sell it as a 4-unit. This way, we'll probably get close to $350,000, $400,000, like the numbers you guys were saying, right? We know because it's in the Highlands. Well, it's the same as Brightman Street. Actually, so the other 2 houses are on Brightman Street. The same. So we know the locations very well. Like we already own real estate there, and we flipped all around that block. So we know the market very well. So it's a matter of that one gets cut down to a 4, which is not intuitive as an investor. You're like, I'll keep all the units, right? Rent that out. Let's keep all the units. But we've got to get back to where we can sell it, which is a 4-unit. That's where FHA financing works, owner-occupied residential lending works. So we got to adjust because the low down payments mean more buyers, right, Mikkel?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it works, right, Dave? That's how you do the first one. You got to get in cheap. This is making sense, right? Okay. And Ev, you got that one rented out yet? Finished or rented?
Finished.
Rented.
No,
Rented?
it's rented. Son,
Good job, man. Give it up a round of applause. Finally! This making sense? Yeah. You're doing the same thing in Maine, right?
Doing the same thing here.
Here? Right.
Yeah, here as well. Yeah.
It makes a ton of sense.
Absolutely.
So the 3 families are easy. They're on the same lot, so all we have to do is split that off. We know the cost of splitting it. We know that probably the sewer runs together into that building, so we're probably going to spend somewhere around $10,000 to $15,000 on splitting that off. But the cost is nothing because those 3 families sell for what? Where are my agents at? What do the 3 families sell for on the market?
Decent ones, 350,
350,
close.
$350. What did you just pay for yours?
300.
$300. So we know that they're selling more than what we're buying them for. We're buying 3 buildings at $200 a piece, if you round it out. And say they all sell for $300, what's the profit margin? I know. It's almost like not even worth doing the project, right?
Yeah.
So it's a massive equity play.
Do you guys plan on buying that vacant store that's next to it? Because there's a vacant store around.
I own that one.
I said
Oh, the
that.
chicken
I said
place?
that same thing.
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do with it.
Yeah.
It's not I stay in my lane, right? It's not my type of property. I do commercial, residential. I don't play with commercial buildings unless they're big enough to play with, right? Unless there's enough room where I can put just about anything there. Like the project I'm working on with my brother right now it's a $3 million project. It's a big deal, but there's almost 60,000 square feet. You know, it's a big mill. It's got a lot of opportunity there. And fortunately, I already have a tenant who can handle it, right? My brother pays over almost between $3,000 to $4,000 a month in rent every single month. So he can handle it, right? And he won't be the tenant, he's actually doing the purchase, he's gonna own it. What he's paying for the mortgage is what he's paying for rent, right? So if you've ever been down to AMP Academy, go in there, you know, talk to Josh, tell him you wanna sign up, pay the membership, because, you know, he's doing big things in the city and he could use some extra funds, right? But he does athletic movement and parkour. My brother is an entrepreneur through and through, and he loves entrepreneurs. So what he wants to do is build an area where entrepreneurs can come in and put their fitness businesses, health, nutrition, if you do yoga, like all the niche markets for getting healthy, CrossFit, like he does parkour and Ninja Warrior. So, you know, he's not gonna compete with you, right? But if you're a normal gym like Planet Fitness or Workout World, he's got large sprawled out areas where you can put the machines and all of that stuff. So for him, he's like, it's not competition, it helps, right? It brings more people in and we're all feeding off of each other. So he's looking at like this project, and if you have somebody like him to build a project, commercial's no concern. But without my brother involved, I'm not touching commercial, right? We know how to fill residential units. We know how to fill them, like, boom, put them on the market, 2 weeks later, they're loaded. No big deal. We fix them in 2 weeks, market them in 2 weeks, in a month, I've got a unit back online. With commercial, it's not that simple. You gotta know somebody. You gotta have a relationship with a business. You gotta have a business that actually makes sense to put into place. Because, you know, if they're selling pocketbooks, it's probably not, you can just do that online. There's too much competition, right? You've gotta be in the service industry and in the commercial realm. So, to the question on the chicken coop, the chicken place, not my thing. I know, right?
That's the protein.
That's it. It just stay in your lane in this business. Stay in your lane, run your properties until you can get something bigger, until there's a strategy you really want to dive into. Don't take those on, right? Like even the commercial spaces. When we first got into Brightman Street, we left that space until we could figure it out. That literally has always been in our, same with these 2 units here. We've always been like, if we can't go residential with them, we're not touching them yet. We'll do everything else, and they're just sitting there as an opportunity for later on. And it wasn't until like these past couple months I said, wow, there's a big opportunity to fill these commercial spaces. You just gotta know the entrepreneurs. And you'll see that my marketing strategies are gonna shift. Instead of training so much on just real estate investing, you'll see me start shifting over to training real entrepreneurs in general. Businesses, so I can start attracting businesses into the funnel so I can fill my units. And Ron and I will start looking at commercial spaces. But it's not a suggestion. Like this is, when you have the skill and you can do a little more, then do a little more. But as investors coming in, right, I would not say jump in a commercial. It's too risky, it's difficult, it's a lot of work, unless, you're like my brother, you have that network. Where all the people who go to his gym are entrepreneurs. So he has, like for whatever reason, his type of working out attracts the entrepreneurial spirit. Right, so he's got a very good network of people who like to work out and build businesses. So for him, he's in a good position. For most of us, that's probably not where we're at. We have the entrepreneurial spirit, but we may not have that network. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So this strategy, again, like Aquino said, am I going to hold them all? I'd like to, but at the same time, if 20 more show up, dude, those things are so gone. I will sell 11 to buy 24, or I'll sell 11 to buy 30. Without even thinking twice. 300,000. Remember, 300,000. What does that buy me? 5 times. Right? That'll put me in $1.5 million worth of real estate. So in a heartbeat, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? You line that up. 1031 exchange. Everything's on the market. Run it. Right? Or maybe sell one, take the gain. You know, so we can pay ourselves for the year. Take the gain, sell the other 2, and keep that real estate rolling. This helping, guys? Mm-hmm. A cool strategy? Were there things you hadn't thought of tonight? Some of the stuff that was mentioned, is it new? It's a little out there.
Yeah, like all of it.
Like all of it. Give Phil a high five there. Give Phil a round of applause. That's good. So that is what we're doing these next couple of weeks. I am raising capital. So for The McMurrays, I think they need 50,000. You guys want 50,000 to play with? So that's what their project is. So if you know somebody, an attorney, a doctor, engineer, somebody who's an investor who's been in the game long enough, like me and Ron also, as we start retiring and pulling out, we'll be lending in the same manner. But if you know somebody who's at that capital space, we're also looking for 100,000 on the condos so we can flip them faster, and we're looking for 100,000 on the 11 units. And so we'll take you in as partners, and we'll do the 12% return on investment. It's a super easy way to make cash flow. Ask some of our current private money guys who are getting checks of $1,000, $2,500, whatever they gave us. We just give them that every single week, every single month. Well, hold on, hold on. This is recorded.
I'll go to the bank right now.
So we've got a couple guys who've given us 50,000, and they get every single month. I will say it again.
Yeah.
Every single month, $500. So $500 coming in every single month, to me, that's a great return. And then at the end of it, their money's protected. It's literally the same money they're getting back. There's no fluctuation with the stock market, right? It's like this is what you put in, this is what you get back, and the entire time it's
What's the
interest
length
only.
of the loan? Just
It's whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like honestly, on the condos, we can go shorter, and so as investors come to me, like newer investors, I'm putting them on the condos because they want that shorter time frame. The guys who've been with us for a while, they'd rather be on the like buildings like this, the longer holds, like the 11 units, because they know we're gonna hold that for a while. So I've had one guy ask me for 2 years, and we do it for him because he brings out 100,000. So it's like, you know what? Absolutely, 2 years is easy for us. We know we're gonna continue doing this. And then for another gentleman, he's like, look, I'd rather have my money back quick, but he's like, I want this return. You know, you have a 6-month product. I was like, well, the condos are 6 months. And that's an easy way for us to get him his money back. But on the condos too, if you decide you want to stay in, we'll roll it to the next project. We're always looking, our wholesalers are always hunting. We're always finding deals. And like Ron says, deals that make our head hang in shame for how cheap we got it. So when we see those, I have no problem. I can guarantee money back. Well, didn't say guarantee, I can't say that on camera. I can guarantee that I'll do whatever it takes to make sure my investors are paid. And that's, I've never lost money in real estate, and I've never missed a payment with an investor because Ron does all the writing of the checks.
yeah.
So that is, and guys, when you're raising capital yourselves, when you're borrowing from other people, make sure that you have that in you. Make sure, because I do encourage it. I do encourage private money. I do encourage doing this. But make sure that you've always kept up with your bills. Make sure that that's a skill you have. Do not borrow unless you know you can pay it back. Unless you'll do whatever you'll eat ramen noodles. And Ron and I have been there where it's like, man, the product's not going fast enough. And we'll do whatever it takes to make sure our investors are still paid. That is a commitment you have to take before you borrow money from people. Does that make sense? You guys all agree?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, hell yeah, absolutely.
Pay your lenders. I borrow money too, so it's like
Always pay your lenders.
always pay your lenders,
Yeah.
no matter what. It's like paying your mortgage.
If you want to stay in the game,
Yep.
that's a long memory. It's a bad reputation. Like, and it works the other side of it, right? You take good care of your lenders. It's such a compliment, right? I've had guys go out and say, yeah, oh, you gotta work with them, right? Cause I had a guy, and he told me, he's like, oh, that seems unrealistic. That's a lot of money. And I happen to have one of my investors right on the side of me. We're in his property, and he's like, nope, that's what it is. So I get the check every single month. And this gentleman, he lent with us initially, what, 30,000?
35.
Was it 35?
Yeah.
So he just lent with us again at 37.5, right? So his gain, he just threw it back in, right? He just like rotated it back in, and he's selling a couple properties to throw more money into the project. He's like, I'd rather just do this than own rental property right now. Swear to God, like, when I met him, it was in a room like this, and actually it was just at my other office. It was this meetup. When I met him, it was a room like this. He had invested in the past, got burned. Helped him buy a couple of units. By a couple, I mean 14. And he got up to 14 units, and we were managing for him, and he said, yeah, I want to start selling some of these off. He sold one, I think I sold it for $100,000 to 2-family, that he basically, it was free because it came with another property. Made that, and now he's selling off, and he's saying, yeah, I'm going to roll this back into just no headaches, not dealing with it, 12%. He's like, I want more of that in my portfolio and less of this. We all get there. We literally, Ron and I get there often where we're like, oh, can we do it yet? Like, but we always evaluate the portfolio. Like, can we make $1 million a year passively yet? off of 12% interest. Can we do that? Because the day we get to that spot, you will not see me owning rental property anymore. The whole point in this game is to get to paper assets. The whole point in this game is to be the bank one day. Who's heard that before? Who's lost sight of that at some point? Yeah. Yo, if you lose sight of that, all you did is build yourself a job, right? That was my goal. I wanted 40 units, and I wanted to manage the whole thing. All right? Is it okay if I tell you the story of how I really got into this? I have, and I just saw, and this is why it's fresh in my head. I was cleaning my whiteboards, and I have a little Post-it that I wrote back in 2015 when I was living in my brother's house. While I was thinking, hadn't even considered writing the book yet. This was like, it was still just I was living it, right? So I was living in this house, and I was like, I know things suck. like I'm pretty aware of how bad it is right now. But like, if I could decide what life I wanted to live, how it was gonna look, I'm gonna write down just on a Post-it. I must have heard something on the radio or read it in a book that you had to do these things, and so I wrote on a Post-it, put in the back 2015, and I wrote I wanted to have 40 units. I want to have 40 units in Fall River, and I wrote that I want to spend time with good people. I want to be the best person I could be, best father, son, brother, cousin, friend, best person I could be, and spend time with good people. And I wrote that on the Post-it, right? Today, I have 45 units. I spend time with good people, right? I'm, in my mind, the best I can be every day, getting better and better every day. And at the time, I thought I was going to manage those units. I really did. I thought I was going to get to 40, and I was going to have partners. It was going to be just me, and I was going to be living off of managing those units. I was going to pay myself the management fee. That was the plan. Thank God I adjusted the plan. Thank God the plan has changed. Because right now, if you told me I had to manage all of our properties by myself without my business partner, I would be done. I would be out. I would sell everything right now. I'd take the $3 million and run, right? But because of the way we've structured, we've adjusted the goal over time and said we want to be the bank. Like really, we just want to give back to other investors eventually. We want to get to that point where it's like, hey, you guys have your turn. Take the headaches, enjoy yourselves. We're just going to hold the note. We're going to teach, we're going to train, we'll just attract those people, and we'll make sure that works, right? And ideally, maybe one day he and I were talking about owning a REIT, right? A real estate investment trust, That's the only way to be a billionaire, by the way, which is still on my to-do list. Like, you can't be a billionaire in real estate without having a public company. If you see somebody who's done it, they are the exception. They are not the rule. Does that make sense? All the billionaires that I can think of are publicly traded companies. Right? Start thinking about it. Warren Buffett, Microsoft, Amazon, PayPal, all of these guys are publicly traded. The only way to get to the billionaire status is through stocks. Public. That make sense? So, that's one of my goals. You can't do it working a 9 to 5. It's impossible to have a company that you stabilize and take public working 9 to 5. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you've got to figure out the passive income first. Right? Ron and I are at a point with the company where we sell one of those condos a year each. We made our $100,000 for the year. We're not pigs. We can live off of that. And I have both made the commitment to live off $75,000 a year until we hit our goal, right? And previously it was $40,000 a year. We've only upped it. Although our income and our net worth has skyrocketed, we've only upped it $25,000. We're committed to keeping it there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the goal is far cooler than the immediate justification.
What's the goal?
The goal is for the Bowling Trust, his family trust, to be pulling in $500,000 every single year. That is the driver. What is it?
Passive.
Passively through paper assets. We had to really dial this in. And so for me to hit that goal, I had to double it so it's making $1 million a year passively through paper assets. Because paper assets mean we can be anywhere doing whatever we want. We're not necessary. We're not needed in the company. Does that make sense? Who has a similar goal? Who thinks that they should adjust to a similar goal? Right. If you adjust now, you can make moves towards it. Right? If you make those adjustments now, if you say, hey, this is where I'm really heading, trust me, the activities are different. The activities are extremely different when your goal is just, it's like the level. Has anybody used a 6-foot level before? If you just go up a single degree, you're talking 3 inches on the other side, right? It can be here and like this, just from making one minor adjustment over years. Aiming for something different will gradually really take progress. It'll really show up. So when we evaluated the goal, we said, does this move us towards that? Does this move us towards the passive goal? And right now I trade a lot of stocks, and they're not unique. They're not like Amazon, right? I'm trading REITs. I'm trading mortgage-backed securities. And when I say trading, I'm not really trading, I'm buying. Right? I buy mortgage-backed securities. They 12% dividend yields, 40% dividend yields, 16% dividend yields, to figure out the industry, right? Because over time, that's really where we want to be. All the REITs, I understand the apartment REITs, the senior housing REITs, the, what are the other REITs? Storage REITs, right? Like figuring them out, commercial, residential, hotels, hospitals. There's so many different types of REITs out there. So now we're moving in that direction where it's like, well, a lot of investors are going towards syndication, right? Syndication is a great strategy. Dave, you just jumped into syndication, right? It's a great strategy. REITs are just that on bigger scale, way more documentation. So there's a couple of different ways to do this in real estate. There really are. There's so many different ways. You could retire just on syndicates, right? You get enough syndications going, you can retire on syndications. You retire on REITs. You retire on lending hard money. The hard money lenders out there are getting 14 and 2, 14 and 4, 12 and 2, 12 and 4, right? That's kind of up our alley. We like that. You know, private money lenders, like some of our private money guys, just love that we're writing them a check for that $1,000 a month. They're in love with that money. When I tell them, hey, the note's coming up and we're going to pay it back, they're like, what else do you got? Like, what up, right, Bill?
I get thank yous all the time.
Yeah, they're
thanking
thankful.
them, but they're like,
Can we roll it again? Can we roll it again? You know, they want to run back into the project. So there's a space for your goals wherever you want it, but don't make the mistake that I did of setting yourself up for a job down the road, right? You don't want to be managing your own properties down the road. You'd like to have a strat, because at 50, 60, 70, right? Who's going to manage those properties for you? If you get this portfolio so big and you think your kids got that, let me tell you, they don't, right? Bill, how are your kids? Are they into this?
no, not at all.
I would say if they are, they're the exception.
Yeah, no, not at all. The goal was to do that,
Of course.
but that wasn't their goal.
Mm-hmm. They don't want anything to do with it.
Nope.
Because when you came home, they heard your horror stories.
Right. It's not easy. It's simple. It's not easy.
It's simple, it's not easy, right? So if you think that your exit strategy out of this is your kids are going to take it over, you're wrong. You got to be out of this game by 50, 60, 70. You got to leave yourself some time to live and be out of the game. And for me, I intend to be out of the game way before that because I'm just like that, right? I'm ambitious. So
You got time, brother.
yeah, I got time.
Time.
So I retired at 30. This is just fun for me now. This is, like I don't have to work a 9 to 5, so I have the ability to work on these projects. I have the ability to go meet people who own REITs and run with them and figure out what they're doing. You've got to get yourself that time. You've got to figure out whatever you've got to do to get yourself out of that 9 to 5 and get 100% in real estate investing. Like me and Bill were talking about going to the other events. Bill, you do your Middleborough event first Monday of the month?
Monday of every
Third
month.
Monday of every month in Middleborough.
Fireside Restaurant.
So you get Fireside Restaurant.
Fireside Restaurant, the Rotary in Middleborough, right on Route 18.
Yep.
Exit 5 up at 495.
Say that one more time, Bill, so everybody can hear it online.
Exit, it's at the Fireside Restaurant
Yep.
in Middleborough, every third Monday of the month.
Yep.
Exit 5 off of 495, right on Route 18 at the Middleborough Rotary.
Very good. And Bill does a great job. And the reason I say it is you get more training when you hit more events. Every single one of these events is 1, a network, 2, an education, right? And 3, it keeps you engaged, keeps you in the game. Anybody ever go to church before? Right? Heard of it? Know what that's about? Right? The idea is that you're getting together with the community, you're being reminded of the same stuff, you're just getting that little, remember, it's a little accountability. Hey, did you sin this month? Did you sin this week? It's way easier if you're going more often than if you're going once a month or every 2 months, right? You skip an event and you're only going to one event, you're in trouble. But if you're going, Bill went to 3 this week.
This is the third one, yeah.
Exactly. I went to 2 this week. I would have done 3. Snow messed me up. But I would have done...
That's a good excuse.
It's not a good excuse. I missed the one in Burlington. I should have gone to that one. And thinking about it now, I was sitting with these guys. We had a good conversation, so it was worth it. But it's not it's the exception, right? You can hit 6, 8, 12 of these in a single month and jump your education faster. Every one of us is talking a different subject. Every single one of us has different stories. Every single one of the trainers that's coming up, Dedham, they're bringing people from all over the country, right? Like that's an aspect that you should be involving yourself in and getting that education. If you want to speed through this process, get more education in this process. If you want to speed through and get richer faster, talk to everybody in the rooms, right? Get in more rooms and talk to more people, get more contacts, and start finding out who does what. Does that make sense? It's cool stuff. Guys, it really is. I will say for a moment that Get the Deal is coming up. We're going to be having the conversation of how to find all the deals. The way I find real estate deals is not your typical wholesale process. I find real estate deals that are larger portfolios, and we acquire them and we split them off and we sell them. We only deal with multifamily. Online, every single guru is teaching you single family flips, single family wholesaling. Aquino, is that safe to say? Yeah. And Ishmael, safe to say?
Yep.
Every single guru is talking about single families. You can't get out of the game with single families. You cannot get out. Maybe in the Midwest, but not here in New England, right? For us to get out of the game, we have to play multifamily. To go faster, you have to play multifamily. So I Get the Deal. You can go to waltermonroe.com/intensive. The tickets are $200. It's a 2-day event. Some people think that $200 is a lot. Some people think the 2-day event is a lot. Either way, it's a commitment to your success. And either way, I'm going to share everything, literally everything on how I built my portfolio and find the deals that, I mean, these deals are stupid, right? These deals are stupid. Like teaching wholesalers on how to hunt for you, right? If you had an army of wholesalers out there, you'd have all the deals that we have flying by. The stuff I buy is not the stuff I see. I see a lot more. Mm-hmm. I only buy and brag about the things that that are such a good deal and that are in my city. The wholesales are all over the place, right, Ishmael?
Yep.
You send me deals from everywhere, right? Okino, you send me deals from everywhere. And I absolutely have investors in those cities. So I do. I share along and I spread the word. And I don't need a commission. I don't need a split. I don't care. I want my wholesalers to make their money. I want them to know that I'm the guy who's going to help them make more money. I just want the property. I just want the next deal. So we'll talk about the strategies that I use to teach wholesalers how to find the deals. We're going to talk about the strategies I use personally to find the big portfolios. Like my buddies out in Rhode Island who have those 450 units. How did I find them, right? How did I build that relationship? How did I get to the point where now I know what they're looking to do and have those numbers? Same with the 192 units here in Fall River. How did I build that relationship? You know, how did I identify that person? And knowing those strategies, you think that would change your lives a little bit. Yeah. If you could do that, could you hit the retirement pedal a little bit faster? All right, so it's worth me teaching it. All right, I agree. I absolutely agree. And here's the selfish side of it. I get more of you guys at that high level, right? That high level where you're playing with 100 units, playing with 200 units, and you're retired, and now you've got more time to go into whatever direction you want. We're going to hang out. I'm going to have better friends. Does that make sense? We're going to be having better conversations. We're going to have better networks. I can call on you for something. So it's very selfish, like being very honest with you guys. I just want you to be better so that we can hang out with better people. It's crazy, right? It's almost not even ethical. But that's the reality of it, right? We only get one shot at this life. We better do it on the big scale. Do it safe, do it cautiously, but you can't win on defense. You can't win this game on defense. You have to play offense. But you can play a strategic offense that allows you to grow fast, help a lot of people. Every single tenant I have is appreciative of what we do. Every single person I've ever sold a building to has either been one of my students or one of my clients. And we've made sure that they're thankful for the things that we bought. You guys will see, right? Watch, right? We've sold buildings to our students before. And after the student buys it, they're like, yeah, cash flowing. That's great. Yeah, I did what you said, and it's working out. Because the first deal is the worst deal, right? The first deal, like we've left a lot of meat on the bone on this one. It's not like the house you just bought, am I right? I know. So, and this is how it works. And when you finish up with a project, you'll be if you held it, you'd be cash flowing way more in this one than your current one. That makes sense. And you're paying $50,000 less, right? So it's meat on the bone. Ron and I are not in this business to be slaughtered, right? We're in this business to make money. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered, right? We leave meat on the bone. To the wholesalers, leave meat on the bone. To the flip guys, leave meat on the bone. To the landlords, make sure you leave meat on the bone. Make sure you're paying your people. You get very successful by keeping everybody happy. Keep your network happy. And they bring the deals. It truly does work that way. So with that said, Get the Deal is January 24th to 25th. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. I will be there all day. Like any other event I run, it doesn't stop when I stop. It stops when you outlast me with going to bed. When I outlast you with going to bed. Does that make sense? I will continue all night long until the questions stop or the conversation's over or we hit 2 o'clock in the morning. Because that is where I close the deal. Right? At 2 o'clock in the morning, if we hit that, I will say, okay guys, we gotta go to bed. But until then, I will run this thing from 8 o'clock in the morning, probably till about 5 will be the actual session. But then after that, it's, hey, let's go get dinner, let's go get drinks, let's hang out, let's talk. And that's where a lot of the session really gets to just detail on what you're doing. Does that make sense? Is that cool?
Yeah.
I think so too. It's fun. All right, guys. Network. Enjoy yourselves. If you have any questions, shoot me a text. Anybody have my number? Everybody here has my number. Yes. Anybody not have my number? Okay. For you guys at home, I will give you my number. It's 774-526-4796. Do not call me ever. Shoot me a text. Shoot me a text and I will respond back all the time. But do not call me because I just won't answer. All right, guys. When you have a choice, always invest with the best. Cheers.